Hey guys, I'm Isabella Jane, and today I am showing you my favorite coffee table books. When I say coffee table books, I don't even know if that's actually a thing, but I'm referring to those really giant, beautiful volumes that you don't really sit down and read, although sometimes you want to, and you just put them out on display because they're so beautiful. I don't know what those are called, but I stick them on a coffee table, so here's mine. The first one I have is the Dictionary of Imaginary Places. I got this from a friend. This book, so this one's from like the 80s, but I think they come out with new editions like all the way up to the Hunger Games. This book is literally an encyclopedia of every fictional place that's ever existed. So they've got Middle Earth, they've got Wonderland and the Land of Oz and Odysseus's homelands, and I can't even, this thing is huge. There is just, so it comes with like, it'll have illustrations of the places, it'll have maps, and then it's just written like an encyclopedia, so you get all the information about all the places. It is so fascinating, and it's a really good reference. So when you're reading a book and you're wondering more about the place, it's just a really great book to go to and kind of understand more about what you're reading. So it's definitely a very fun, not necessarily sit down to read the whole thing cover to cover, but a very fun book to learn about your other favorite books. The next book I have is a book about my all-time favorite musical, Sound of Music. This musical I have loved since I was about probably 3 years old, and by 4 I could sing every song with a British accent because I needed to sound like Maria. So this is definitely a love for me. So this book is the Family Scrapbook. It goes through all the actors in the movie and talks about their life then and then their life after and what they're doing now. They've got lots of trinkets and behind the scenes stories, and it's just so interesting, and it's really beautifully done. They make it actually look like a scrapbook. So it's very fun to sit down and look through because you feel like you're reading someone's private book. One of the best parts about this scrapbook though, and I think there's 2 versions, one without the pullouts and one with, I'm pretty sure. So that mine is the one with the pullouts. So it has these different little trinkets inside, and they're like photocopies of actual things so that you can get more of a feel for the cast. So this was a costume design for Gretel. And then this was a picture. The 2 puppeteers, they were French, and they were the ones who taught the kids how to do the marionettes for the Lonely Goatherd song. So this is a picture they drew for Nicholas Hammond, who played Friedrich. This is Heather Menzies' notebook, and this goes through and has like photocopies of the things. This is dates. It was the day their club started. So all sorts of things from her notebook. And this one, so there's lots of pockets. This is just one pocket I opened. This one has the actual screenplay, pieces of it. This one belonged to Nicholas. And so it goes through and you can see the different, like here he crossed out, it was supposed to be Kurt, then it became Friedrich who said it. And he underlined certain words that he was supposed to emphasize. So it's just really interesting seeing what the actual script is like versus how it turned out in the movie. So this is a really fun book to sit down and look through. And if you are a fan of The Sound of Music, or just musicals in general, or behind the scenes things, it's really fun. The next set of books that I have are from a favorite TV show. This is a set of Downton Abbey books that I own. The first one I have here is The World of Downton Abbey. This one came out after the 2nd season, and so a lot of these are very similar, but they just came out at different times. So this one just goes through the show, goes through the characters, goes through behind the scenes facts and trivia, but it's really beautiful, amazing photography, and a really fun way to relive the show. There's them at breakfast. Where's my favorite? There's a favorite picture of the train station. I won't give anything away in any of these in case someone's waiting to catch up. This is my favorite, the train station scene. So I really liked this one. And it's got family life, society, change, life and service, style, house and estate, romance, war, and then behind the scenes is kind of what it goes through in this book, and just for the first 2 seasons. So just a really fun and very beautiful book to look at. I feel like for TV shows there's often a lot of different behind the scenes books or about the show, and I've checked out practically everyone our library has, and some are better than others. This is one of the better ones. Another one that I really like is A Year in the Life of Downton Abbey. So this one came out after season 4, maybe 5, but I think it was after season 4, and this one goes through each month of the year. Same ideas, but executed differently. So this one has the year ahead is January, February is the children, March is farming, April is travel, May is debutantes, June is the London season, July is summer, August is Scotland, September is the house party, October is living on the estate, November is the sporting season, and December is Christmas. So it goes through all of those, again, with just amazingly beautiful photography. It'll have spotlights, so this one's a spotlight on costume, but it'll have spotlights on the different parts of the show, spotlight on music, spotlight on the executive producers, spotlight on hair. So it kind of goes through those different things, but then also going through the months of the year. And it's really, really a fun way to kind of feel like you're in Downton Abbey because you feel like you're going through the year with them. This book is the beautiful 6th season companion. So this one came out last year after the 6th season, or was that 2 years ago already? Was that 2 years ago? It's been a while. This came out 2015. Okay, well, I think it aired in 2016 in the US, so I feel a little better about that. Anyway, this book is amazing. This book is so much fun. It goes through everything in all the seasons. It's actually thinner, I think, than the other two, but it's taller. But it's just a nice way to have like a collective set of everything, and it goes through all the characters. It'll have a page with kind of a collage of some of their most iconic styles, and then it will talk a little bit about them. So like, here's Anna Bates, and it's got the different pictures of her, and it has about 2 pages on her character. Some of the characters that have more costumes get more pictures. Here's Lady Edith. So these are all of her costumes. So she's got a few more, and it just talks about her character and goes through. So it's a really fun way of looking at all the characters, and it kind of goes through the parts of the house in this book. Then it talks about the characters in each of those kind of locations. So it's really, really beautiful, and it's fun to just look through. And then at the end of the book, it has a really short, almost like a Wikipedia synopsis of every single episode in the series by its season. Here's season or series 3, and it'll just give you a really short synopsis of all the episodes with a picture at the bottom. So it's a really fun way of kind of like reference you, like, oh, what happened in that episode? Well, let me pull out my book. So this is a love. The last one is being lent to a friend right now, so I don't actually have it with me, so I'll put a picture up here. It is the Downton Abbey season 3 scripts. This book is so incredibly interesting because you're reading the script, which is always fun for me. I love the show, and so I want to go, oh yeah, I love that part, I love that part. But what's so interesting is they'll leave in the lines that in the end got cut out, and they'll have a dash through them so that you can see like, oh, this didn't make it, but this was thought of. And then it'll also have intense footnotes. Like sometimes the footnotes are the whole page. It's Julian Fellows. So he just talks about the show and about what happened and funny things and why he cut the line, or why he added this line, or how this character development happened, or why this line was important, or why they chose this costume, and it is so interesting. I'm still only episode 5, I think, because it's a huge book with all those footnotes, but it is really, really, really interesting. So if the show is something you like, I know they have the first 3 seasons, I don't know if they have more, but I really recommend it because you learn so much more, and you get to go kind of in depth with the characters, because even though those lines were cut, the writer still thought that they represented that character, and so I still think that it's kind of an extra glimpse into the characters that you love. So that is a really, really fun book. The next one I have on my coffee table is this. This one I just got as a birthday present, so I cannot say that I've read it. This book is Pioneer Girl by Laura Ingalls Wilder, and it's the autobiography, annotated autobiography. So this is not the Little House books. The reason I'm showing this, even though I haven't read it yet, is because this cover is amazing. Look at this thing. It's absolutely gorgeous. That watercolor is just to die for. And oh, I could look at this all day. This is my favorite cover ever. So that's kind of the reason it's in the stack, because it's really, really pretty, and I really, really love it. And it's like the matte finish. It's just a gorgeous book. So I have read, from the library, I borrowed it once, and I'd read some of the introduction and a little bit of the book. The book itself so far was not my favorite because it was rather rough, and she'd be like, the Indians attacked. The next days we were driving, and I was like, hold up, what just happened? I was, okay, big deal there. So it just felt like it was really choppy and brushed over, but the introduction was fascinating about how Rose kind of tried to fictionalize the stories when Laura wasn't sure she wanted that. So I will give this another try, and it was interesting, but honestly I'm showing it for the cover. The next book I have, this book is kind of a funny one to put in this haul, but I just think it's really fun. As a girl, when I was probably about 9 years old, I got into American Girl. Like really into American Girl. I had 3 dolls and read all the books and sewed things for them, like made little stuff and I loved American Girl so much. So last year for Christmas, my mom got me this book. It is American Girl, The Ultimate Visual Guide. And the reason I love this book is because it's all my childhood memories kind of wrapped up in a book. It's like all the catalogs, all the magazines that you read and wanted, all in one book. It is so much fun. It goes through all the historical characters, all the girls of the year, and then all the Look Like Me dolls, as well as the history of the company and how it got started and why it got started. It's just like a really fun, nostalgic book to look back on, so I had to put it in here. Oh, look at that. It's just so much fun, and it's got, oh, I just love it. Old stuff, new stuff, everything, and it's just a blast to look through and to have those memories. They talk about like how they design the characters, they talk about the stories and the styles. So I feel like it goes a little more in depth. It was really interesting. It says it began with a dream. And so it talks about Pleasant T. Rowland, who started the company. And it says she visited Williamsburg in the 1980s. Inspired by the history she saw coming to life around her, Pleasant decided to publish a line of books that fed a girl's imagination and taught history through the lives of its young heroines. To accompany the book, she'd create beautifully detailed dolls and accessories that inspired a girl to act out the stories and give her the experience of touching the past. Nothing like this had ever been done before, but that didn't stop her from making her dream come true. So it's really cool. It wasn't just a, ooh, money, yay. It was actually a, I want girls to enjoy history as it should be enjoyed, which was why I fell in love with them. So it's really special. So I had to put it on the list just for nostalgia. The next book I have kind of hints back to The Sound of Music. I love musicals. So for Christmas, one year I got this. This thing is giant and very, very shiny. This book is called Musicals. It starts with the very first real true musical. The very first what they consider a modern musical. So like it's not going with operas and things like that, but the first modern musical, Showboat, 1927. Florence Ziegfeld. So it is based off a novel, and this is the very first true musical, directed by Hammerstein, music by Jerome Kern. Yeah, so it's just really interesting. So it starts all the way there, and this book came out in 2015, so it's really recent. In the back, too, it has kind of like a other musicals list, so it'll have some that were, like Hamilton's actually in here because it was like a, oh, this is on pre-Broadway and it's doing really well, so we'll stick it in the back. The last true musical it has is 2014, Into the Woods. As well as, they even have Frozen in here. So it goes through everything, and it's for the bigger musicals, like Mary Poppins, for example, it has the storyline with the songs. Otherwise, it'll just be a page that kind of talks about it, and it gives you who wrote it and when. So it's a really fun reference book. It's kind of like a Wikipedia of musicals all in a book. It's very fun. The very last and the very biggest book I have is this book, and it's called Fashion. This thing is so huge. Oh my goodness. It's put out by the Smithsonian. It's a DK book. And this starts from the beginning of time and goes to the modern era of fashion. I did a report my junior year in high school, and I did it on the changing in fashions from 1950 to 1960. And it was so interesting, and this was the book I used at the library, and so of course I was doing research and having to write my paper, but at the same time I was like, oh, look at this dress, oh, look at that dress, oh, look at this hat, and I was just drooling over everything. And I rented it a few times after my paper just to keep looking at them, so this was another lovely surprise present. So it starts all the way at the beginning of time with like clay pots and carvings on the walls to give us an idea of what clothing looked like. It goes up to 2010 onward, so it goes through 2012. So there you go. Kate Middleton. No, that's not Kate Middleton. I thought she was in this book. She might be on a different page. But point being, it goes all the way to now, and it's got drawings and sketches and cave paintings and sculptures, but then it also has actual dresses that were sewn, like the Christian Dior when that all came out, which was my focus. They've got the actual dresses of the new look and everything, and it's so beautiful. And then they'll have spotlights on certain designers, and timelines of things, and it kind of just goes by era, so it's just really beautiful and very fun. Here you go, my favorite page, the new look. All those lovely small waists and big full skirts. So, well, I love this dress. I want red gingham. Yeah. So it's got fashion icons and history tidbits, and then in the back, on the very last couple pages, it goes through like all of women's dresses, all of shoes, all of purses, all of hats. So you can just kind of get on like 2 pages, here's an overview of everything that's changed from the beginning of time to now, boom. Or 200 years or whatever it'll do for a chunk of time. So that's kind of a nice way of summarizing the whole book at the very end. So there you have it. Those are my favorite coffee table books. Kind of big, kind of heavy, but they're really fun. I will spend hours sitting on my bed looking at these things because they're just so interesting and relaxing because you don't feel like I have to read it cover to cover. You can just enjoy what you find. So I hope you enjoyed that, and if you have any of your own coffee table books that you love, let me know in the comments below. I hope to see you soon in my next video. Have a good day. Goodbye!